Welcome to the third and final video in the Massachusetts Historical Swordsmanship Classical Bâton training course. In this video, we'll be looking at low-line attacks, counterattacks, tactical drills, and bouting, with more technical ideas, tactical applications in options drills, and their application in bouting. For lesson number 12, let's put together two previous ideas and hit the low-line target on the partner's advance. Here, when Brian steps into distance, Audrey tries to hit his shin before his rear foot hits the ground. Brian is of course wearing shin protection for this. You can look for yourself to see where Audrey succeeds in this and where she doesn't. There she was successful. There she missed Brian's advance. And there she hits. Let's now review the parry repost to the low line. On Audrey's change of moulinet, Brian will attack the opening target, and she will parry and repost to his low line target, that is his shin, with a lunge forward or back. Even though, because the camera isn't moving, we're doing this without footwork, be sure to add footwork and do it from movement. Having reviewed the parry repost to the low line, we can now work this idea into a simple options drill. Audrey is going to do parry counter reposts, alternating between Brian's high line and Brian's low line so as to keep him guessing. Brian has no idea where their counter repost is going to land. Audrey initiates an attack to Brian's high line. On his parry and repost, she parries his repost and alternates where she makes her counter repost between his torso or head and his shin. You can use all of the parries and reposts that we've learned for this drill. Lesson 14, the getaway go. It's not necessary to parry an attack. One can also completely avoid it. This is a two-tempo action. On Paul's attack, Brian slips back and the next tempo strikes. There, Brian miscoordinated his foot before his hand and so failed. This shows the importance of moving the stick out before you move your foot. There, Brian did it with the right timing. As with the other drills, vary your tempo, footwork, and timing. Lesson 15, Counterattacks. The counterattack is the standard response against an attack to the low line. It is done by simultaneously slipping the front leg while extending the moulinet out to strike the opponent in the head in the same tempo. It's important to learn how to make a parry repost before counterattacking because the counterattack can often be overused. We therefore teach this last in the sequence of instruction. While the counterattack is the standard response to the low-line attack, what Brian's doing here, the classical rassemblement, while overreaching Audrey's attack, should only be done by advanced practitioners. Our final tactical concept is countertime, that is, the counter to a counterattack. Here, Brian is feigning an attack to the low line in order to draw Audrey's counterattack. He then parries that counterattack and continues with his own repost to the head. In that last sequence, Audrey hit Brian in the head. She's really trying to hit him in order to challenge him to do the technique properly. Let's move on to options drills. Now, Paul is going to alternate between attacking Brian to the high line to draw his parry repost, and attacking to the low line to draw his counterattack. After Brian can do this competently without footwork, they then add footwork so that there's a tactical and movement element to this drill. Both fencers should take turns leading footwork. However, it is easier for beginners if the coach, that is, the fencer being struck, leads the footwork. This is a simple options drill and is an excellent intermediary between simple mechanical drills, tactical drills done without movement, and bouting. In other words, it's a bridge. Lesson 18, the attack on preparation. Here, Paul is stepping in as if he wants to attack, but instead of leading with his weapon, he leads with his body. Brian uses this to his advantage by striking as he lunges back and gets away from any potential follow-up attack. The final lesson is the jumping attack, which is an acrobatic and spectacular technique. It can be used to reach over the opponent's high parry. He sets it up by making a couple of attacks to the high line, and then finally the jumping attack, reaching over. Brian is lifting hands up high and hitting with what would be the flat of the blade. Here Brian's going to show it in tactical application as a remise or a renewed attack. He slips a couple of parry reposts, makes his highline attack followed by his jumping attack. Our final section is bouting. Here are the bouting rules. 1. Bouts commence and end with a salute and handshake. 2. Baton is a conventional weapon, that is with priority rules. A valid threat is made by extending the weapon, breaking the frontal plane, within striking distance. Priority is lost if the attack is parried or fails by missing or being dodged. In case of simultaneous action, neither attack has priority. Valid target is the head, excluding the back, the torso above the waist, and the shin. The weapon must be kept in motion by a Milanese at all times. Thrusts are forbidden. Valid strikes must be made with the last third of the stick by Milanese or from a chambered position. Both hands must remain on the stick at all times. Grappling and corps à corps are forbidden. Bouts may be fenced to a certain number of touches, such as 3 or 5, or to a certain time limit, like 3 minutes. Here's some demonstrations of bouting. Note that these are not actual competitive bouts because we're not wearing all the required equipment, but they will show the rules in action. There, Audrey's counter repost arrived. Audrey's feint attack had priority. There, Brian's repost arrived. Brian's initial attack to the shin had hit the floor, and Audrey's hit to his hip neither had priority nor was on target. Brian's counter repost arrives. Simultaneous action, no point. Audrey's counter repost was off target. Brian's repost arrived. Here's Audrey and Paul. Audrey's attack arrives. Paul's counterattack was invalid. Paul's attack arrived, but off target. Paul's repost arrived. Audrey's repost was too high. Audrey's initial attack was valid. Again, Paul's counterattack does not count. Here, Brian and I will demonstrate some situations that can arise in bouting. First, you can parry a low attack. Here, I missed the parry in my countertime action. Brian's hit is valid, but mine is not. A remise, or renewal of the attack, is only valid if it precedes the repost by a full tempo. Notice that Brian also parried my repost, making this properly a counterattack against the repost. Here's Brian's attack on my preparation. Even if I had hit, it would still be Brian's priority. Here, Brian makes a longsword style counterattack by opposition. Because he's not hit, this is valid. This concludes the Bâton training course. Thank you for watching, and be sure to visit us on the web.